Brittany Patterson, 41 years old, Mineral Bluff, Georgia, was arrested by her county sheriff's department in the last couple of weeks after she left her son home alone and he wandered less than a mile into town. This according to NBC News. Well, the mother is now speaking out. The story has gone national. It's gone international, for that matter. And she is telling her side. She is fighting child endangerment charges after her 10-year-old son's unsupervised walk into town. Now, I think it's important to note that Mineral Bluff, Georgia, is in northern Georgia. It's basically near the border of North Carolina and Tennessee, where those two states meet, and where, of course, Georgia hits them from the south. It's a town of 370 people. And her 10-year-old boy, while she was out, decided to walk less than a mile into town. And she is now facing charges over it. Here's the local news report.
Police body camera video shows the moment Brittany Patterson was arrested for letting her 10-year-old son walk into town by himself.
What am I under arrest for?
For reckless endangerment.
And how was I recklessly endangering my child?
We're not talking about it.
On October 30th, Patterson said she took one of her children to the doctor. In the meantime, her son, Soren, who since turned 11, decided to walk less than a mile into town from their home in rural Mineral Bluff, Georgia. While out, Patterson got a call from the sheriff's department, worried that Soren was walking alone.
I wasn't concerned. I wasn't, panicking or concerned because it's just a short walk from our house. He knows how to get home. He knows how to get there.
Authorities dropped Soren off at home, and 5 hours later, they returned.
Call Mommy and tell them they're taking you to jail because you decided to walk down the street.
Let go of your hands. That's not his fault.
Yeah, call Mommy.
You're the mother. That's your responsibility.
Last time I checked, it wasn't illegal for a kid to walk to the store. So.
It is when they're 10 years old.
Patterson was booked on suspicion of reckless conduct, a charge that could carry 1 year in jail. The warrant claiming she willingly and knowingly did endanger the bodily safety of her juvenile son.
Our criminal justice system is built on the fact that you did something or you were negligent. You did something criminally negligent. So what is it she did?
That's her attorney speaking. What is it she did? To be criminally negligent. This is ridiculous. You want to talk about bad parenting that exists in this country? It is all over the place. Unfortunately, bad parenting can lead to tragic outcomes. Just look at some of the, God forbid, school shooters that are out there. And the lackadaisical and poor parenting that exists in too many of those cases. But this kid's 10 years old. Now, if he was 5 or 6, I'd say, okay, we got a problem here. But at 10 years old, that's usually 5th grade, give or take. You're walking less than a mile into town. I mean, I remember doing that in my town in maybe 6th grade. So why is it illegal for a 10-year-old to do it? I mean, you want to talk about cops who are looking to flex their muscles, John. That's all I can come to the conclusion on here. This is everything that is wrong when it comes to how we prosecute law enforcement and how we prosecute supposed criminals in our community today. Meantime, you could go to a lot of different places, including places here in Kansas City, and find far worse parenting on a daily basis than this.
We used to ride our bikes all the time when I was a kid. I mean, you only just had to watch out for the dinosaurs. It used to be like if you lived less than a mile from school, you were considered a walker.
Yeah.
You had to walk school. They didn't have bus service. So, I mean, I'm not sure. That's probably gone down to 2 feet now. But,
yeah.
I mean, nonetheless, it was within the parameters of acceptability at one time.
There was a story that runs... I guess it would be of legend in my family where my brother and I, we were 8 and 6, and we tried to walk to school when our grandparents were watching us, and it was probably right about that mile mark, give or take, and we left the house, and we just started walking to school because we thought we were going to be late. Parents were out of town. Grandparents were watching us, and then he ends up chasing us down about halfway to school, and he just destroys us. I mean, we got chewed out pretty good. But he didn't know where we went, and we were also 8 and 6. Like, I get that in hindsight, having now a 6-year-old coming up here in a couple of weeks. That's scary. I get that. But at 10, in a very rural community, here's more of this story from local news and the arrest of Brittany Patterson, 41 years old, in Georgia.
Authorities have offered to drop the charge if Patterson signs a safety plan that includes the use of a GPS tracker on her son's phone. But she refuses to sign it or admit doing anything wrong.
I just felt like I couldn't sign that, and that in doing so would be agreeing that there was something unsafe about my home or something unsafe about my parental decisions, and I just don't believe that.
Brittany Patterson is out on bail, awaiting to see if prosecutors will indict her on the reckless conduct charge.
I love that. I love that she's saying, I'm not signing this. I'm not giving you guys some kind of a win admitting that I did anything wrong. Screw you. Forget you. I'm not doing that. Good for her. How could you not support Brittany Patterson in this situation? And as some of you are noting right now on the text line, and as I told you, Mineral Bluff, Georgia is a rural community. The population is 370. So it's likely that in a town of 370, everybody knows everybody, right? Even if it is the county sheriff's department. There's got to be potentially some beef here, maybe, with the mother, with the family. There's got to be something more than, hey, we're going to hit you with these charges because your 10-year-old son walked less than a mile into town when everybody knows everybody in these communities. I'm not trying to give anybody the benefit of the doubt, but I just can't imagine being in law enforcement and actually pursuing something like this. 913-408-7957. Mark, you're first up on KCMO in Atchison. What's up, man?
I got a similar story where a little bit of a different twist, though, in that I asked for the help of the cops in finding my kid, who I'd recently gotten custody of an international custody battle, got him back home. He's now 100% Spanish speaker, though he's born in the States. And he went for a bike ride. I told him to go to the store. He gets lost. And so I call the cops, and they tell me, well, we're going to report this as a runaway. And I'm going, what about this as a runaway? He's on the phone with me. His battery's about to die. He's trying to read these street signs to me, and I can't get a good location on him. He's right about here. Can you guys at least take a drive-by and help me? Well, if we find him, we're going to, it's going to be a runaway situation. And I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? So that's what struck me immediately about this is the obtuse. I mean, these cops want to all of a sudden get her on a list or something because her kid wandered 9 blocks away. I mean, it's nuts.
And how old was your son when this happened?
He was about 12.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, once again, 12 years old, not unreasonable to be riding your bike in the town if it's not, a 10-mile bike ride or something like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, how do they twist this into a runaway situation?
Yeah.
The same thing that happened here is all of a sudden he's unsupervised. It's a small town. I mean, is he walking through a bad neighborhood? What's going on?
Yeah.
I mean,
You're right, Mark.
So I don't get it.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And that's a interesting spin-off story there to note where it's like, I'm all about Back in the Blue. We're doing Back the Blue this week or this Friday. We'll be at the Platte County Sheriff's Department. Looking forward to that visit. But I also wonder when some people are literally like, well, rule of law suggests this must be a runaway, or we must go after Miss Patterson in this situation. Brittany Patterson. Why? Just have some common sense. A little bit of common sense can go a long way. And it can help all of us. 913-408-7957. We'll get to more of you in the 9 o'clock hour. Pete Mundo on KCMO. You guys are asking great questions at 9:04 on a Tuesday on KCMO. We're streaming all morning long on the KCMO Talk Radio app. The text line, the phone line, 913-408-7957. Pete, what if, when it comes to Brittany Patterson, this mother in Georgia who is fighting these charges that she's been hit with for child endangerment because her kid walked into town less than a mile in this rural Georgia community. What if this kid was walking to a friend's house versus walking in the town? Would that have mattered? Would that have made a difference? Great question. I don't know. But I love the fact that she is pushing back, and she's not signing any documents or admitting any wrongdoing.
Authorities have offered to drop the charge if Patterson signs a safety plan that includes the use of a GPS tracker on her son's phone. But she refuses to sign it or admit doing anything wrong.
I just felt like I couldn't sign that, and that in doing so would be agreeing that there was something unsafe about my home or something unsafe about my parental decisions, and I just don't believe that.
Brittany Patterson is out on bail, awaiting to see if prosecutors will indict her on the reckless conduct charge.
So let the government track your child.
Chip your kid.
Yes, because you allowed your kid to walk into town. Now, do not get me wrong. There are organizations that are out there within state government and federal government that are actually doing great work protecting our kids. It's a very important role because there are children who are abused. There are children who are neglected. There was a national story, I forget where last week, of a mother leaving her 8-month-old baby home while she went out and got some. Literally, she left it. Remember that? She left a Post-it on like the front doorway that said, "Left to get some, I'll be back," as her 8-year-old baby was screaming and soiled, and the neighbors heard it in the apartment complex, called the police, and took the child out of her custody. Like, I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. You have no business being a parent in that situation. But this, a 10-year-old boy walking less than a mile into town, and the sheriff's department arrest the mother over it, John, that is next level, man.
Well, I know we're quick here. I was going to say, let's not shoot the messenger, although the attitude of one of the cops there, yes, it is illegal for a 10-year-old. No, it's not. You're just there to do a job, I understand, and this isn't the place to, we're not doing the trial here, but let's not shoot the messenger sometimes here. I mean, they're being told what to do, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
A little bit. Some of the people are quick to jump on the cops in this atmosphere and the bigger picture. I'm like, wait a minute here. They're doing the job they were told to do. Some of them are a little bit overzealous on
yes,
that. So
yes.
That part I resent.
Well, here's the thing, though. And I know cops probably can't admit to this, but if you're in a rural community, you pull over, you see a kid walking down the street. Maybe he looks a little young. Hey, kid, what are you doing? Where are you going? Hey, get home. Hey, what'd you play? Come on. You're 10 years old. Get home. Where are you going? If nothing else, you help the kid, right? If he doesn't seem like he's in any kind of real danger, he's not like beat up, his shirt's not ripped, he doesn't look like he hasn't bathed in 2 weeks, just be like, hey, kid, be careful out there. You're in a town of 370 people in rural Georgia. It's going to be okay.
He just wanted to get a slice of pizza at the Casey's. That's all.
Maybe that's it, in which case he should get arrested for eating Casey's pizza, not for walking into town to get the Casey's pizza. Pete, on the text line, I'm sure some people would say if he was walking to a gender clinic, he would have been just fine. Oh, I see what you did there. 913-408-7957. Daryl is in Northwest Missouri. What's up there, D?
Hey, what's going on? How's the family?
Oh, everyone's just fine. What's on your mind?
Good. Hey, I got arrested here a while back. I stopped some kids there in Arco that was driving their
Wait, stop. Okay, you got arrested? You're calling us someone who's recently been arrested.
Yep.
Okay. So what led to your arrest?
For illegal detainment. I stopped the kids on the golf cart in our city limits. They wasn't paying attention when they was going through the intersections. And you got to be 16 years of age to drive on our streets. So when they stopped me, or when I got turned in by somebody there in Arco, which I don't know who it was, the cops came down and arrested me and took me in down and booked me for illegal detainment. But
so you were doing like vigilante justice?
Well, no, not really. I just enforce our ordinance. I got a phone call on my phone.
but you're not law enforcement.
No, but I'm the mayor up here.
Oh, you're the mayor up there. Okay,
yeah, I'm the mayor up here.
You kind of buried the lead. So you're the mayor. Yeah. You're the mayor up there. And there were some kids on the golf carts who were not of age to be driving the golf carts. How'd you know that, though?
Because I knew the kids. They lived there in Arco.
Okay. So you know the kids.
I stopped them.
You know they're not of age.
Yep. And I stopped them. I said, hey, listen, you got to get home because somebody left a message saying they're going to call the county on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over and stopped them, and I told them, I said, you guys got to get home.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep them safe because they wasn't looking in the intersections, as they was going through, driving around. And they wasn't looking, through the intersections. We were afraid, because like if a car hit them and, the parents wanted to sue or something, they would come back on the city and sue us for not enforcing our ordinance.
Okay, so you hold these kids, basically you detain them, and then you get arrested because you weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah, and I didn't really hold them. I just stopped them to let them know, they had to go home, they wasn't legally to drive without. And it's in our ordinance. Everybody's got a copy of our ordinance on what they're supposed to do.
Gotcha. So what happens now for you legally?
It's a misdemeanor on that. The lawyer's got it. It's going to be $100 fine, but, they could put me in jail up to 1 year and all that other crap.
Well, you and Donald Trump, two guys who are in office who are just complete rebels who are targeted by the law.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Jesse and Frank James together again.
Daryl and Arco and Donald in D.C. Two peas in a pod.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Daryl and Don.
We're just holding our own there.
Yeah. Well, all right, Daryl. Hang tight there, buddy. You're going to make it. Don't make me move up to Arco and primary you, though.
Well, you just come on up, and we'll fix you a big old steak dinner. Bring John. I got a fishing boat. We'll do some crappie fishing, and we'll just talk about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the offer there, Daryl. We appreciate you, buddy.
I was just doing my research there. They've got a tackle shop and a church.
Okay. That's good enough for me. I'll be mayor. I'm looking for a next act. That'd be a good place to start. I'm on my HOA board, but it only gets me so many jollies, John.
Well, Clint Eastwood started somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
There.
That's true. Good point. 913-408-7957. That's our text line and our studio line here on KCMO Talk Radio. Pete, under the Biden economy, this poor kid had to walk. Under the Trump economy, he'll be able to Uber in the town. Very nice job.
Such a nice man.
That is very well done on the text line. I like where your head's at there. Got some creativity as we hit the 9 o'clock hour. On 95.7 FM. Pete, I lived in a town of 8,000 as a youth. We could walk or ride bikes all over town, about a mile range, 4th grade up. Well, yeah, that's about the age, I'd say 5th grade. Maybe it was 6th grade when I kind of recall being more independent, being a walk around, going to town, whatever it might be. Now, it's difficult in our part of the world because our communities are so spread out. Our towns are so much more spread out than maybe they are in smaller communities. I grew up on the East Coast, but it was in a small community. The town was 2 miles by 2 miles, about 6,000 people. So you could easily walk into town, air quote, and it'd be, a 10-minute walk one way. If you're in Olathe or Lee Summit, for most people, you're not walking into town. You can't do it. But in many communities in America, you can, and it's not a big deal. And kids do it every day. And I don't think 10 years old is unreasonable. If he's 6 or 7, okay, and that's somewhat problematic. But a 10-year-old? Most people, thankfully, are supporting this mother in Georgia, and I am glad to see that. Brittany Patterson has gone viral, and the vast majority of people are on her side. The people that aren't, I got to believe that those are a lot of Karens. And I'll add this as well. There's a GoFundMe to set up for her legal defense, and the fundraiser has hit $54,000. That's right, $54,000. That's a heck of a number. Let me see if that's gone up since then. $55,000 we're up to this morning. So how about that?